It Ends With Us is a romantic drama directed by Justin Baldoni, who also acts in the film. You may know him as the director of 2019's 5 Feet Apart. The film is written by Christy Hall, based on the 2016 novel of the same name by Colleen Hoover. The film stars Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, Brandon Sklenner, and Jenny Slate. The plot follows Lily Bloom, an aspiring entrepreneur who moves to Boston after her father's death to start anew. She soon meets Ryle Kincaid, a charming and ambitious neurosurgeon. Despite Ryle's initial reluctance to pursue a serious relationship, he and Lily fall in love. As their relationship deepens, Lily begins to grapple with her past, including her tumultuous relationship with her father. The film cuts back and forth between Lily's relationship with Ryle and Lily's teenage relationship with a boy named Atlas Corrigan. This will be a spoiler-free review. I have not read the book, so I cannot speak to how this film fares as an adaptation. On its own merits, I thought this was surprisingly solid. The film is not subtle or nuanced, but it explores the complexities of relationships, love, family, and trauma in a genuine way. By showing us Lily's past alongside her present, the film separated itself from other films of its kind, and rather than relegating Lily's backstory to a few forced flashbacks, the film developed her past and present simultaneously and efficiently. I honestly would have watched a film solely based on the flashbacks. The way the flashbacks begin to play into the story later was clever. Isabella Ferrer played the younger version of Lily, and she was so like Blake Lively that it was a bit spooky, but it was thankfully never an imitation. Like I said, the film is not subtle. I've seen many of its kind, however, it is great at foreshadowing satisfying payoffs. The screenplay is very well-rounded. I can't deny that I was immediately charmed by the relationship between Lily and Ryle, not only because of their chemistry, but because the film lets all of its dialogue scenes breathe. None of the scenes cut prematurely, as you may expect with a film like this. The scenes linger and the characters talk for as long as the scenes require. The first act had me regularly smiling. I was admittedly emotional during the third act, even when considering the shallow way that the film deals with its more serious subject matter. The time spent with the characters is what allows for the emotional response from the audience. The film is just over 2 hours long, but I was never bored. The film felt like a journey, and I was often impressed by the twists and turns, even when they were melodramatic, which they often are, as I didn't always see them coming, to be honest. I don't want to give away too much about where the film goes. I think it is worth preserving the way that the story unfolds. The film is predictable upon reflection, but it is because of the directing and the acting that the film feels authentic and earns its moments. I wasn't really thinking about what was going to happen next, because I was just locked in with whatever was happening at that exact moment. Even though I have praised the tight writing and directing, I must say that the cinematography was very bland. I really wish that the film had been nicer to look at. It looks very flat and dull, and there is no imagination to how the camera is situated. Improving upon those elements would have gone a hell of a long way for me. There are two particular moments in Act 2 that are extremely cliché and cringeworthy. My eyes rolled because I am so sick of seeing those exact tropes. I've seen them hundreds of times. You know the moments. Someone overhears a conversation that they aren't supposed to hear, or they find something that they're not supposed to find and it changes the trajectory of the narrative. It's a very lazy way of writing, and I honestly wonder if this device ever worked when it was seldom used. It definitely doesn't work nowadays. Aside from that, and a couple of plot contrivances, I thought this was a decent time at the movies overall. You're not going to miss out on anything if you don't go, but if you do choose to go, you won't regret seeing it. This is not the kind of movie I would usually bother to see. The trailers looked pretty bland to me, but Seeing that the film opened to $80 million worldwide this past weekend heavily intrigued me. I wanted to see why so many people were drawn to this film. My audience erupted into applause at a pivotal moment in Act 3, and then again during the final scene of the film. I love when an audience interacts with a film like that. I love when you can sense a buzz in the air, so that was really fun. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are married, and they currently share the top 2 spots at this week's box office, with Deadpool and Wolverine and It Ends With Us. That's a cute little fun fact, I think. It doesn't matter what the movie is though, I'm just happy that the box office has been lighting up recently, because the first half of the year was quite dry. Not for a lack of good movies, those movies just didn't seem to be drawing people in. I'm glad that this one is. There is a second book called It Starts With Us, and due to the runaway success of this film, I think we will definitely be getting a sequel. I'm feeling that the titles will confuse people in the future, on a streaming service or something, for example, because some people will no doubt think that Ends is the second one and Starts is the first one. Anyway, I had a good enough time with this one that I would definitely consider seeing a sequel. There is nothing remarkable about this movie, but I thought that it was solid and far from the worst of its kind. You probably already know if this is not your kind of movie, and I'm sure you already know if this is your kind of movie, so I would recommend it if you're the latter.